Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. Like I promised in my previous review, I'm going to do the original zombie film, which was made in 1932, which is White Zombie. And as far as the guy in horror movies, Bela Lagosi. And this came out in 1932. It was made by the Halpern brothers, who made this movie for less than $50,000, and Bela Lagosi got less than $1,000 to play the lead character, was the zombie leader named Murder Andre. And I'm not making this up. That is actually his name, or his character's name. And the movie takes place in Haiti. It was supposed to take place in Haiti, and this movie came out just after the year before, when the horror movies started becoming a big genre for the movie studios. And the year before, you had Dracula. And so, of course, Bela Lagosi was the first real big major horror movie that became a big hit. And then, of course, also Frankenstein also came out in 1931. So this is the very next year when White Zombie came out. And they weren't too sure if horror movies, or movie studios, I think that horror movies were going to be such a big thing because people were shocked, especially in Frankenstein, for which I'm going to maybe get into another time. And then White Zombie, they made money on White Zombie. So because of the success of White Zombie, horror movies became more and more profitable, and especially Dracula and Frankenstein became very profitable the year before. And they weren't too sure they should keep making them because, audiences were, in 1932, a little more sensitive to horror movies than movie audiences of today. At least I am, because I grew up with the slasher films. So movies like this doesn't really shock me because it's rather tame by today's standards. When I go back to White Zombie, it is the first real zombie film. And before George Romero came out with Night of the Living Dead, most zombie movies, starting with, of course, with this one, started with some guy who was like a voodoo guy who practiced in voodoo, knew all the crazy arts in Haiti, because Haitians do believe in voodoo and do believe in zombieism. And so this movie makes sense to be placed in Haiti. Well, the movie starts off with two potential newlyweds. One of them played by Marge Bellamy, who was a lousy actress. I mean, she was really lousy because she was a relic. Well, most of the actors, except for maybe Bela Lagosi, are really relics from the silent film era, because the silent films were ending or dying out by the time White Zombie came out. And so a couple of them tried to resurrect their careers for being in White Zombie, and it didn't help. And one of the main characters out of Bela Lagosi was Marge Bellamy, who was from the silent film era, and she was so bad. One of the critics at the time says, "You don't know when the zombie part begins, because he does turn into a zombie in the film." Because there was a character named Lamont, and he wanted Marge Bellamy character, and says, and he made a deal with Bela Lagosi, saying, "Oh, I want this girl," and says, "Oh, give this powder. One little drop of this powder will turn into a zombie." So he does that as she was getting married to her fiance, who was also a lousy actor. I forgot his name, but was also a terrible actor. And what she does turn into a zombie, but she kept pretty much, her face kept the same expression, so you couldn't really. That's why one particular critic said you couldn't tell when the zombie part starts or when she wasn't a zombie. She couldn't really tell because she kept the same expression on her face, because she came, like I said, she came from the silent film era, Marge Bellamy. So she pretty much kept the same expression on her face pretty much throughout the whole film, even when she was a zombie. And of course, in the end of the movie, she goes back to being human in the end of the film. Well, the one who really steals this movie is, of course, Bela Lagosi, who at time and time throughout the film, he stares, he glares at the camera, and it feels like that his stare could go right through you. And that's what Bela Lugosi did that in Dracula, and now he was doing that again, more so in this movie. But in White Zombie, they used the technique of sound more than dialogue, because there's not a lot of gaps in this movie with dialogue, and the director Victor Hugo Halpern used sound a lot to emphasize the particular scenes, particularly in the sugar mill. You see Bela Lugosi's sugar mill, and he uses zombies as employees, and he does say a line in the film that's like an anti-union line, because unions were becoming more and more relevant in the 1930s. And he says the line says, "See, zombies, because they have no minds and no souls, they don't have. They're not going to complain about long hours or working so much time without a break, like unions do, because unions work only 8 hours a day or 40 hours a week, and they don't complain about working, longer than that, or more than that during a week, or more than 8 hours a day, like people who own zombies do." And during that scene, they have the one or two goofs in this scene, not that scene, but the whole movie. And you can see when Bela Lugosi is speaking, you see white smoke coming out of his mouth. That's why, because it was like cold, the scene was shot at night. Like I said, it was shot in only 11 days. It's a fast film movie. Even in those days, it was a fast film movie because it was made on a low budget. And if it wasn't made on a low budget, they would have fixed that, or shot during the day, so you won't see the smoke coming out of Bela Lugosi's mouth. But there was another scene which is like the biggest goofs in any movie, even a horror movie. Because there's a scene where, towards the end of the film, where Lamont's butler wants to fight back against the ghost, because Lamont, who was the guy who wanted to build the George Bellamy character, turns into a zombie. Or Bela Lugosi made him into a zombie. And so the butler wants to fight back, and he stops because Bela Lugosi does that stare, and the butler just freezes, and his zombie goons really, comes up, picks up the butler, and throws him into the river. And just before the butler goes into the river, he holds his nose, and he falls in. And that's the biggest goof in any horror movie. And it's like just before somebody does like a belly flop in the water, you hold your nose and you go into the pool or the water or whatever. That's what the butler did. And if you ever see this movie, I think this movie is on YouTube. If you look for it and you see, and you can look for that scene, that's like 3/4 of it just before the end scene, where George Bellamy does go back to being human, but you can't really tell if she's human, back to normal, or a zombie. But that's pretty much what White Zombie is. And there's one fact that on the audio commentary that's on this one DVD, it's about like a Bela Lugosi historian, and Gary Don Rhodes who wrote a book on White Zombie. He does the only commentary on this, and he does a pretty good job on the only commentary. He was the one that pointed out when the butler holding his nose as he got thrown into the water. And he does a good job in analyzing this movie. And if you listen to the commentary, it's better than the DVD. It is better than watching the movie, because the movie, it is the first zombie film, but it's a terrible movie to watch. And my father bought me this DVD because I was interested in Night of the Living Dead, and we got an ad for Clubhouse DVD Club, and they were advertising this movie. So, since you're interested in zombies, And this was advertised as his first zombie movie. And since there's Bela Lagosi in it, my father figured, let's get this movie, because he figured I would be interested in it because it was, was interested in Dying of the Living Dead, and he just saw it. And my father ordered this because he just saw Night of the Living Dead on TV, and said, "Oh, let's get this movie." But the movie, it really is terrible. But if you like, interested in zombie movies other than the George Romero films, which I previously reviewed, we'll see this one. This is this sets the standard for a lot of zombie movies, particularly during the rest of the 30s and the 40s, because a lot of the zombie movies at that time has a character like Bela Lugosi's character in this movie, which is like a voodoo guy, and they, to hypnotize people and to take their souls, or to remove their souls, so now they're mindless people, or soulless people. The zombies then, instead of people coming back or rising from the dead, or rising from the grave, like the Romero movies. That's why George Romero was such a classic when it comes to zombie films, because he redefined everything. Because he changed what zombie movies were, and how you kill them and all that type of thing in those movies. But this movie didn't really know how to kill a zombie, because there were actual people, and not people who were risen from the dead, like in the Romero films. So that's my review for White Zombie. I know it's pretty short because this is a short movie. It's only forgot how long the movie is. I think it's 71 minutes. Something like that. 71, 72 minutes, which is now I think it was like an hour 15-minute movie. Very short. And so is this review. So please watch the review, please like it, or subscribe to it, comment, subscribe to my page or whatever, and thank you for watching the movie, watching my review of White Zombie, which is the first zombie film. And let me give you a tip, guys. This movie has nothing to do with ethnicity. And before I end the video, I want to tell you that there were white actors in blackface in this movie. And because of the racial makeup at the time in 1932, they hired white actors in the permanent blackface. So, just give a little warning if you watch this movie. And White Zombie, the title has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has to do with purity, the whole purity thing. White being pure, and that's what they mean in White Zombie. Not by ethnicity, by purity reasons. So thank you for watching the video. Please like it, subscribe to my channel, and catch you next time.